Welcome back to the Fox 5 Amplified Table. We're talking with Victoria Saha about a story she's worked on, going a little bit more in depth on the stories here. Now, this story aired a little bit ago, and I remember while we were watching it in the studio thinking, like, how does this happen? So a guy takes his BMW 7 Series in to get some work done on it. He goes out of the country. Maybe he thinks, okay, it's going to be there for a little bit. I'm going to take a trip. In the meantime, somehow the shop puts a lien on his car, which is what you would do if somebody didn't pay their bill, right? They have a big bill, they didn't pay it. It's like, we're going to put a lien on your title, to your bank to say we want our money back, like somebody would do on a house if you were doing that. And this guy's like, wait a minute, like I didn't know anything that was going on with this car. You never sent me the bill, not to mention I never agreed to pay for a whole new engine, which on that car would probably be like 30 grand.
Yeah.
And they didn't even do that work. So tell us how this guy got into this mess and how he figured it out, really.
First of all, I love how you knew exactly which make and model, given you're a car junkie.
Saw it right on there.
I just called it a BMW. But anyway, brand new BMW. This guy, he tells, he was leaving out of the country for a vacation. So, he dropped his car off. He's a rideshare driver. So obviously you need to keep up with the routine maintenance. So he dropped it off for an oil change and brakes and all that stuff, left the country. Left it with the shop owner that he thought he could trust because he's done it before. And then the DMV compliance division tells me this guy suddenly gets like a notice from the bank saying, hey, there's like a lien hold on your car. So the guy's like obviously freaking out. What's going on? Turns out the shop owner of Star Auto Care fabricated an entire repair bill. Says, he needs a new engine. This is a brand new BMW. And, those engines don't come easy either in the country. The owner of the car was out of the country. Obviously, he didn't get those notices that, hey, you got to pay this bill. So then the owner got a lien hold on it and was able to somehow transfer the title over to his name. And then what the owner did was he transferred that to his brother. The brother then transferred it back to the shop owner's wife. So it was like a huge circle. But this is where it gets a little dicey. What he did, there's a loophole in Nevada law. If you leave your car at a repair shop, at a mechanic shop for a while, and they do all these services and have all these parts that come in, and you don't pay, like he said he didn't on paper, they can legally take your car, put a lien on it, and have that title transferred over in their name. And he had given the DMV all this paperwork and it looked legitimate, and so it was granted.
Yeah, that's the weird part about this. So it's like, this guy's the owner of the shop's facing these allegations, and there's some legal work here too. And you mentioned this in your story, go to a DMV shop or a regulated shop, which is good. But also in this case, so this guy kind of did all the paperwork. There's a way you're supposed to do it. The DMV doesn't at the beginning really have any idea that this isn't what's really happening with the car. But that also made it easier for them to sort of track down. And I remember at the end of your story, you said they're investigating several others from this same shop to see, I guess, if they're legit.
And again, it seemed legitimate until the actual car owner made a complaint. And that is when the DMV compliance division started looking into this and realized, okay, this whole paper trail, we gotta see what's going on. So they are actually able to find the BMW. Didn't need an engine replacement. Didn't even get an engine replaced.
Where was the car when the guy got back?
It was, I think it might have been somewhere.
So even before he got back in the country, where he would go to the shop to pick up his car, this had already all.
Yeah, he said the car was repoed.
Oh, okay.
Taken away. But the DMV was able to track it down to the owner of the garage shop and got the car back. And of course, like I said, didn't need an engine replacement, didn't get one, and then handed it over to the actual owner. But I actually spoke with the owner a few days ago. He said that he had to give the car back to the finance company because the garage shop owner allegedly racked up all these miles.
Wow.
It was a brand new car, so he was apparently driving it around everywhere out of state. So, it diminished its value. So the actual car owner said, well, I'm not going to be paying and be on the hook for this.
Upside down in this car, basically. It's not worth what he's paying on it, essentially.
Right.
So many miles.
Exactly. And the DMV said there's another part of this story because they were not paid their $23,000 for that engine replacement. Apparently, they also took out a loan to help repay that. So it's like a spider web of
multi-level here.
different things going on here.
Did this end up with the shop owner or any of those people? Or were they charged in court?
Yes, the shop owner, or the man who investigators say is behind all this, they brought him in for questioning. The chief of the DMV compliance division says, "Oh, we knew his story was like fabricated because it didn't match. The engine wasn't replaced, so we knew we had that evidence." And they arrested him right then and there after they questioned him. So he was charged with theft and forgery. And I called him yesterday, actually, earlier this week, and I was like, "Are you apologetic at all? There's this man suffering. This guy was a rideshare driver. That BMW was everything to him." And he just referred me back to his lawyer.
I was going to say, I mean, we should point out at this point there are allegations against this guy.
Right.
He does have a lawyer. He'll have his time in court. But these are the allegations made by not only just this rideshare driver, but also it appears the DMV as well, or compliance division, is saying this is what we found in our investigation. Now, I know you mentioned they were looking into several other vehicles. Have you heard anything about that?
Yeah, I actually was just chatting with the chief earlier, and he said those charges could be coming soon, obviously, with this. There's a lot of paperwork that they have to comb through. So they did confirm that there were 4 other lien cases against that same owner.
Do you have any advice for people when you went through this story on how to be safe? Because I know you mentioned use a DMV authorized repair shop. That didn't stop this from happening in this case. I guess it made it easier for them to kind of track down how it happened, but is there any other advice? I mean, it's a tough spot because you're taking your car to get fixed, and
Yeah, it could be any one of us, right? So go to a legitimate place. The DMV has a whole list of mechanic shops, garage shops that you can go to. The thing that the chief said to me was, if this were to have been an unlicensed shop, the owners behind it could have done whatever they wanted to do and run. Like, there would be no following, right? There would be no consequences, because this was, they said, legitimate, that there was a paper trail to follow. And, you always talk about, get referrals, do your research. This BMW owner, he did his research. This was a place where his friends go to. He's a rideshare driver, so all of his buddies went to this guy. And then he told me, like, he earned my trust, and I fell for it.
Because I guess if you have a shop that is DMV certified or whatever, and that helps them go through it, they're not only probably going to face the legal ramifications, which this guy is doing in court, but also maybe losing that certification, because DMV is going to say, hey, like,
But when we went back, the shop was still open. So that's still unclear what would happen to that shop if, those 4 other cases come back and they realize, okay, this was a pretty similar situation.
And so now this guy, this rideshare driver, doesn't have the Beamer. It's gone.
No.
Because he was upside down. I guess he's going to have to start over again when it comes to
it. So he's a rideshare driver. He's renting a huge Suburban for about $500 or $600 a week, and doing his rideshare business and trying to make ends meet.
Wow, that's a lot. Well, thanks for sharing this story with us. And that's the advice we can give, is try to go through an accredited spot, do your research, and if you see anything fishy, let the DMV compliance office know, because they'll look into it. Victoria Saha's story is on fox5vegas.com and also Fox 5 Plus here on the streaming app.